Baggett, United States Navy, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies. Welcome to today's ceremony, where we will witness Michael Alexander Perez, pin on the rank of Master Chief, Petty Officer. Master Chief is the 9th and highest enlisted pay grade in the United States Navy. Master Chiefs constitute the top 1% of the enlisted members of the United States Navy. Prior to 1958, Chief Petty Officer was the highest enlisted rate in the United States Navy. This changed with the passage of the Military Pay Act of 1958, which established 2 new enlisted pay grades of E-8 and E-9 in all of the 5 branches of the United States Armed Forces. In the United States Navy and the United States Coast Guard, the new E-8 pay grade was titled Senior Chief Petty Officer, and the new E-9 pay grade as Master Chief Petty Officer. Since that date, Master Chiefs have led from the deck plates, carrying a long and proud heritage of service. Will the guests please rise for the recital of the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the Sailor's Creed. Mr. Christopher Michael Perez, Mr. Manuel Alexander Perez, and Senior Chief Michael Alexander Perez, front and center, please.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. You can return to your seats. Attention to Sailor's Creed.
I,
A United States sailor, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, and I will obey the orders of those appointed over me. I represent the fighting spirit of the Navy and those who have gone before me to defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly serve my country's Navy combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. I am committed to excellence and fair treatment of all.
Will the guests please be seated? Good morning, Commander Browning, Commander Powers, family, friends, shipmates, fellow service members, the men and women of the United States Naval Observatory, and the Chief's Mess. I'd like to extend an especially warm welcome to Senior Chief Perez's wife, Sonia, twin sons, Chris and Alex, son Nelson and his family, mother-in-law, Sonia, the White family, the Faccioli family, and his fellow NGA service members. All of you, more than anyone, are aware of Senior Chief Perez's love and enthusiastic commitment to our nation and the Navy. I speak for the Navy when I say how pleased we are to have you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our presiding officer, a graduate of the United States Naval Academy and the Naval Postgraduate School. She is a veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom, who recently was selected for the rank of Captain 06. She is the commanding officer of Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Reserve Activity, United States Naval Observatory 0292. Please welcome Commander Charlotte Browning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
What a wonderful group. First of all, what an honor it is to be part of this ceremony today, so thank you for including us and also asking us to be part of that. There are a few thoughts when preparing for something like this, and one of them is brevity. Right? Everybody wants to get to the penny, but it would be an injustice not to take the time to reflect on this sailor and his journey leading to this amazing achievement. So I was thinking about how I was going to start, and some of the words that came into my mind as I was thinking of Michael Perez, the sailor. So work hard, mission always, enthusiasm, never giving up, family, deck plate leadership, experience. All these kinds of things are actually immediate things that come to my mind when I think of you, Senior Chief. So, that last part about deck plate leadership, it all started, the last quality there began to take shape when undesignated deck seaman Perez reported to his first ship in 1993, the USS Ford, which was a frigate. So as an undesignated seaman, he basically comes from boot camp, goes in, and is decided, they say, oh, probably your recruiter said, you can figure it out when you get in the Navy. Right, we don't need to designate you now. So there he is, he's chipping paint and spending a lot of time thinking about something else that he'd rather do. So, but on his first assignment, that didn't dissuade him or discourage him because he's a really hard worker and he set his sights. And he was actually, during that tour, even awarded Junior Sailor of the Year, but he was became a radioman on his first ship. So leaving the Ford as an RM2, you headed to DC and he began to work at the Pentagon Telecommunications Center. You were then subsequently converted to IT and were promoted to IT1, still on active duty, before heading to the USS Saipan, LHA-2 out of Norfolk. So the interesting part about, was it LH2? LHA-2? It is?
LH2.
Okay.
LHA2.
Okay, I thought it was number 2.
LH2.
So after doing a med cruise, which is always interesting, people in the Navy, they say you want to go on a cruise. Well, cruises in the Navy aren't like going on a cruise with
Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, the Royal Caribbean. And so at that point, RM2 cruise headed out to sea, and he did an employment. And after his overseas cruise, you actually transitioned into the reserves in May of 2001. So moving into that, you're thinking of this career of working hard, being at sea. You moved to the reserve side, but back into DC, you were supporting the Navy Reserve Command Center and also the Navy Command Center, both on the reserve side and even supporting the active duty side as the watch officer, always standing the watch. And then he went on to the training officer and LPO of the reserve CNO Ops and Plans Unit, which had been newly created, which obviously needed a lot of shaping by Sailor Perez at that point. What I think is interesting looking at all of this time is most of the times Senior Perez was moving into places where he worked hard, he led from the front, and again in 2003 he was named Sailor of the Year before pinning on Chief. Then Chief Perez moved to Spade War, a unit at NRO, and stood up as the senior enlisted leader. And ever since then, he's been an SCL, basically every unit that he's been at. There was a brief time going on some active orders as the NCOIC for the 57th Presidential Inauguration detail, which again shows the amount of needed coordination and personal touch that Senior Perez can do. So going to NGA as an SCL, and then mobilizing to CENTCOM, and then back to NGA on ADT orders, and here at USNO. I think through all of that and the hard work, Senior he was not doing one thing, he was doing multiple things, whether it was going to school, with family, being on active duty orders, being in the Chief's Mess in DC, and being the SCL for USNO. It's not one thing. This sailor has multiple times been holding up many fronts to achieve this incredible accomplishment. And I want to recognize you today for that effort. And this really is a race of endurance that you've been going on. Much endurance, but the thing is, this is a marathon, but at a sprint pace. So you always keep thinking I'm sprinting, but it's a marathon, and you've made it. So I want you to just take a moment right now and breathe. And I want to thank your family, because when you get promoted, it's your family got promoted, because they've been doing this sprint and this marathon with you. So Sonia especially, I want you to take a moment to just really enjoy this unbelievable accomplishment. And really the other thing is in the middle of all of this history right now, you're part of a legacy in the Navy of honor, courage, and commitment, people sacrificing to serve this amazing country where anybody can do anything if they want to do it. We live in the most blessed place in the entire world, and I know you don't take that for granted. So I wanted to just, again, thank the family for their sacrifice and the honor that you can have by holding this rank, and we are so thankful to be part of this ceremony. So without further ado, I think I took your script. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
you, Commander Browning. Chief Johnson, IS-2 Robbins, please escort Mrs. Sonia Perez, Chris, Alex to the stage, to the front, and Nelson.
CJ's gonna that is an escort. Crystal, go listen.
I can't make it. I have to document this.
You need me up there?
Yes, yes, please front and center. Will the guests please rise? Military personnel, attention to frocking. From Commanding Officer, Naval Reserve, Navy Meteorology and Oceanography Reserve Activity 0292 to ITCS Michael Perez, USN. Subject, authority to assume the title and wear the uniform of a Master Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy. Reference A, Mil Kurzman, 1420, Pac 060. Per reference A, you are authorized to assume the title and wear the uniform of a Master Chief Petty Officer, effective immediately. Your appointment carries with it the obligations that you exercise increased authority and willingly accept greater responsibility. Occupying now a position of greater authority, you must strive with a renewed dedication toward the valued ideal of service with honor. Under reference A, you will not be entitled to pay and other monetary allowances of a Master Chief Petty Officer until actually advanced to the pay grade for which you have been selected. Congratulations, Charlotte Browning, Commander, USNR.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Master Chief Perez.
No script, no, just wanted to say thank you. I thought about this yesterday. I was watching Raptors and Golden State. I said, oh, I gotta write a speech. And then this morning I woke up, oh, I gotta write a speech. Let's go for a job. It's pretty simple. It doesn't happen. Everyone in this room knows at one point or the other how hard it is to work. In the Navy, you see me do it, you help me, you're there by my side, picking me up when I fall. So by that, I want to thank my guests, Commander Powers, Lieutenant, Captain, I saw the bar, sorry. Captain Catalina, United States Air Force. We all know that Commander Powers is our outgoing XO. Ma'am, you're retiring, right?
Yes.
So, thank you for your service. And Captain Catalina is at NGA, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, where I am an active duty orders. He's part of the response team, and odd enough, I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit, we both work for Chief Johnson, who's our director. So Chief Johnson's a big deal at NGA. Don't let the humble demeanor. So thank you for being here, sir. I know you had something to do, and we appreciate you being here. I did pin recently, as you all know, Pastor Medina invited most of you, but we knew that during the week it's almost impossible. So guess what? We'll do it again, right, for all of us here. So to the men and women of USNO, thank you so much. Your professionalism, the work you do, it's really captured in the evals when we wear khakis, right? We wear khakis because we want to make sure we signal to you that we're enabling you, supporting you, advocating for you, serving you, so you can serve the nation. I always say it, when there's a ship at sea, I dare say that a hot running first class can run the whole thing, but if there's no white hats, the ship is not going anywhere. So remember that you're the mission, you're the focus, but that carries a responsibility too, right? So come to work ready to work, take direction, but you can always guide us, respectfully tell us when we're not doing the right thing. But remember, your work is on our evals, okay? And we're here to serve you, to enable you to do the mission, so thank you for that. To the officers in your leadership, you all run the Navy, so there's just no bones about it. The chiefs may make the Navy run, but these magnificent sailors will be nowhere without officers directing us where to go. So the atmosphere here has fostered an environment where people get promoted. I'm not the only one promoted here. Is Sam Schiffer here? Well, recently Sam Schiffer, recently promoted. You, ma'am, got selected. Lieutenant Commander Alexander, Lieutenant Carter before us, Lieutenant Commander now Nance, Lieutenant Commander Thomas. The list goes on. So this is a place where you can come and promote your career and do well. Of course, you got to work hard. Chiefs Mess, Chris Johnson, thank you so much. When I'm Monday, he's my boss. What a magnificent person he is. A fierce advocate for all things correct. No nonsense type of guy. We need that voice, always. Steve Morgan, thanks for being here. I know it's your off time, but for the Chiefs, right, no off time. You've handled so well your transition a summer ago, right? And, forget about that, ITC running. Gary, probably the smartest person in the room, the silent type. We appreciate you. You were working here yesterday. That's the type of person you are. And no nonsense guy either. When I'm off kilter, he puts me back in order. Leanna, pack a tat. Your energy keeps us going, right? I remember the summer, 2 summers ago when you transitioned, we couldn't keep up with you. And, you're amazing. Mike, you encapsulate everything. You're literally the next senior chief. Hopefully it happens soon. Lisa's not here. Lisa's a follow. And Michael Anthony Burns couldn't be here. And I want to thank my chiefs as well. So my family and friends. Lucius, Denise, Kayla, and Achilles. You guys are my friends, our friends. You're not neighbors. Forget about that. So thank you for being here. You have a trip tomorrow, and you're making time to be here for us. So we appreciate you. James Fascioli, Army veteran in his own right, and his family. It's a family of service. James V, his son, is married to a soldier. Right now is in Oklahoma. So thank you for your service to the Army, to the Navy, to the country. Sandra, Grandma, thanks for being here. Thank you so much. Grandma, bendición. She's my grandma, my mom, everything all in one. Thank you for being here. Boys, it doesn't happen without you guys. You're always tired in these ceremonies, right? We don't get you guys to get to sleep enough, right? Nelson, everybody, this is Nelson. I call him Frankie. Well, we call him Frankie. He's the eldest. So that young lady right there is the mom of this young man right there, for real. Like, not adopted, like, biologically. So I can't claim that. I'm not old enough or, good looking enough. But his family's here. Kathy, where you at? Oh, she's in the back with the baby. Kathy's an Army veteran herself. Thank you for your service. Believe it or not, we're like not even a year apart, but that's my daughter-in-law. Let's just go with it. And that's Danny over there. And that's Josue right here. Hi,
Say hi, Abuela.
Let me pick you up. That's my niño lindo right here. Isn't this like the most handsome little guy around? So, yeah. So, Frankie and his brothers, Stephen, Anthony, and Eric. You guys met Eric before. Suave Puerto Rican kid, the little princess that came here a few times. He couldn't be here, he's working. So those are the first four, sorry. Tonya was married to an awesome person who now lives in Florida. He's a retired Marine, 30 years, Master Gunnery Sergeant. And they had these 4 wonderful kids. And then 20 years after Eric came the twins. So she gave me a chance to be a daddy and have a second life. And thank you for that, beautiful one. Let's go. And to my beautiful bride, the Admiral, Chief and Commander of Home Command, thank you for everything. It doesn't happen without you, so this is for you. Yes, let's feast, let's eat. I didn't eat breakfast.
Good job, Josue.
This concludes the ceremony. On behalf of Master Chief Perez and family, thank you very much for attending. Please join the Master Chief and his family for a reception in the back of the room.